Welcome to episode 24 of the radio podcast. On this episode, we interview Shayna Taffinder. She's a newish teacher at our school. And here we have our brand new, newly minted Prime Minister, that's what they're calling themselves, Prime Minister and Deputy Prime Minister, Deora and Taman. Hi, guys.
Hi.
So, can you maybe introduce this new student council crew for next year?
Yeah, Deora, take it away.
So, as your Prime Minister, my name is Deora Diaz. I have my Deputy Prime Minister here with me.
It's Taman Pirwal.
Our two new secretaries is Chayanika Aswanti and Raksha Nayaran.
Yeah.
Our communications officer is Jasmine Gurwal, and our treasurer, who will be filling my spot, will be Chanpreet.
Moneybags.
Yeah. Yes. I'm sorry, Chanpreet.
Moneybags. I like it.
Excellent. So this is our new crew, and it's going to look really good. You guys have a great team for next year.
Yeah, we're really excited to bring you.
Are you already starting to plan some stuff or goals and stuff like that?
We've been planning for our new events since
last August.
Since we started student council.
It's been a long time. We really want to make next year because it is the 50th anniversary of Delview Secondary School.
It's the what?
It's the 50th anniversary.
Oh, I actually forgot about that.
Did you?
I did.
Oh my goodness, Mr.
We've been talking about it, and we really want to bring some new events and make it special for the Delview students of this.
Next year.
Super exciting.
Grad 2019, and
they'll be excited.
Us, yeah. That'd be so cool being.
So thinking more short term, what's going to go on in the next couple of weeks?
The next couple of weeks is when we transition into our positions and really get a hold of our jobs. So we're planning the May Spirit Week, which is really special because all you Star Wars heads, you guys, this is
gonna have a fun time. Yeah,
this is for you.
It's for me.
It's for you, Mr. Gunn. It's all for you.
And then Slip and Slide, our main event in our summer months, will be taking place.
So get ready for the summer weather because we're gonna have a blast.
Yeah, it's gonna be really fun. There's gonna be food, there's gonna be games, there's gonna be water. So bring extra clothes, a towel, and money because
there's concessions. Yeah, there's food. So pretty sure you like food.
And Cinco de Mayo.
Cinco de Mayo is also coming up. That will be held by our cultural club friends.
Yes.
And they will be, I think, having a chip sale.
Yeah.
They usually have one every year. Mm-hmm. Salsa and all the toppings, the guacamole.
So show them some love. Go in front of the library and just
buy some chips.
There's always food here at Delview.
Food is the best, Mr. Kong.
There's no end to the amount of food that we can eat here at Delview.
Absolutely not.
Students love food. Today we had a freezy sale and we sold out twice.
Twice.
So we had to reload 2 times.
Restock all of
and
our freezies.
students were still are there any more freezies?
Yeah.
We're
we had
sales
to tell
will
them.
continue all week, so if you really want more freezies, just wait up. And that reminds me, in the summer months, we'll have way more freezies. So if you really want your freezies on a hot day, you know where to find us.
Yeah, just right in front of the library.
The weather's starting to change now. It's looking actually pretty good right now.
Yeah, it's really nice. It was actually raining this morning, and I was really sad. But then the sun came out, and I was like,
so
spring is really coming through.
Freezy.
Yeah.
Buy from student council.
Yeah.
They're the best freezes on the block.
All right. Anything else?
Just stay tuned for our new events coming up.
Updates will be
posted on our social media accounts and all over the schools. Just look for the posters.
Oh, by the way, speaking of how great a school we are, we actually raised $1,200 for Humboldt Broncos that we're going to send in.
That was amazing.
Way.
So that's way more than I thought our little school could do. So so thanks to everybody for donating. We just had a jar sitting there at reception. We donated some from student council as well as the grad committee donated some as well. Yeah. So really good job, everyone. Hopefully we can help support those families that need our help right now.
Yeah, we got to stay strong for them.
Yeah.
Excellent.
Always got to help out.
All right. So you guys are going to listen to Miss Taffinder's interview. Very interesting. She's a softball pro.
Oh, whoa.
No way.
I
That's why you listen to this. High five, guys.
It did get sunny for about half an hour yesterday.
Yeah, and Saturday was.
And I got a sunburn. My face burned. But
For that half an hour?
yeah, I have sensitive skin. Yeah.
I'm allergic to sunscreen.
Really?
Yeah.
SPF or like the other chemicals they add?
A pharmacist told me it was the perfume. So something
They put
scented.
perfume in sunscreen.
Well,
Because
the
sunscreen
scent.
usually smells pretty bad. Like, if you're gonna scent it, why not make it smell good?
I don't know.
Really? See, I don't mind the smell.
Well, it depends
Hawaiian
on the
Tropic?
sunscreen, I guess. I don't know.
Maybe you don't want the bees to be attracted to you.
That's true. It's mosquitoes with me. Mosquitoes love me.
Yeah?
And I don't know if I'm allergic to mosquitoes or not, but
It's your BO.
I swell up. Like, if I get a bite, it just, like, within a day or two, it just, like, quadruples in size.
Just so you know, that pretty much happens to everyone.
No, I've seen it. Most people, they just get these little
have to
things.
resist.
I have, like, big, like, lumps, like, all over
Do you
my
scratch
legs
it?
and arms. I try not
Do you
to.
pinch it, scratch it, poke it? If you left it alone...
Maybe a little bit.
Yeah. If you leave it alone, it's not gonna...
Put
It's
an
just
X through
gonna
it.
stop.
Yeah, I've tried that. I don't think that works. My mom
That's
used to
for
do
me.
that.
After bite,
Yeah.
cool it down with something.
Anyways, yeah.
Anyways.
So I felt kind of bad. You planned this podcast
Yeah.
and with Shayna. Are we
Yeah.
using first names today?
Sure.
Sure.
Is that your secret identity?
Yeah.
Miss
Oops.
Exposed.
Taffinder, emphasis on the Taff. And I was like, okay, yeah, this is going to be great. We're going to do this podcast. Because I have a vintage, I think I've told you this, Detroit Red Wings, Steve Yzerman hockey jersey.
Right, you're a
from
Detroit
like
fan.
1990. And then
And you were going to give it to her.
No, God, no. Are you kidding?
think
I
you
was
said-
going to
Just
wear
gonna
it.
taunt her.
I was going to wear it.
Because it's strictly podcast and no one will see you wearing
Yes,
it, right?
exactly.
Oh, okay.
That makes for good radio.
Because it's so much better than your Canucks jerseys.
But then
whatever.
yeah, whatever. But I couldn't find it because I think somebody in my house took it for Jersey Day last week and it hasn't been returned to
What?
the closet where
Oh,
it's
okay.
supposed to be returned to.
But
So
hopefully it's back home, because that's got to be
pretty
worth
nice.
something.
it's pretty cool. It doesn't have the nameplate; it just has the number because I think
Oh.
back then it was quite expensive to actually get the name and number. So it was like, are you going to pay the extra $10 or so? It has Steve Yzerman's 19, but it doesn't actually say Yzerman. But yeah,
Would it
it's
be
the
cheaper
white.
if you just had one of the numbers? Like 1 or 9?
No, that doesn't make sense.
Okay.
Oh, really? Yeah, but 9, then you get Gordie Howe, then it'd go up in
That-
price.
That's true, but
There you
I
go.
didn't
Gordie
like
Howe.
Gordie Howe. I liked Steve.
So are you even a hockey fan?
No, I'm not saying I don't like his play, but you know what I'm talking about.
You didn't
Anyways,
grow up with
it's a
Gordie
cool
Howe,
jersey.
right?
It's
So-
I'm not quite of that generation, but
He was an old guy when you were younger.
he
You
was
can still
still
appreciate-
playing though. I think
He was,
like, when
but he
I
was an
was
old guy.
really little. I think was the end of his career.
He played with his sons.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Sons?
I think until I don't know
yeah.
the year. It would have been early '80s, I think, when he fully retired. 'Cause didn't he go to like a different league after the NHL? I think he went and played in like that.
Yeah, he took time off and then went back.
Yeah, to more of a
But
I
I
can't remember. But anyways,
I don't remember either.
yeah, it was before your time, I think.
Well, yeah, that's true.
What was your time?
What was my time?
Right now.
My time is now. What a time to be alive.
Think about the present.
Hey, I've got to see 4 Stanley Cups for the Red Wings. Don't remember 2 of them.
You went to the...
No, oh my
Final?
gosh, no.
Oh,
No,
okay.
but I've been
Been
alive
alive
for.
for 4 of them.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I was a toddler for 2, but
I was
'Cause
alive
what-
for 0 of the Canucks
What
ones.
years?
yeah. That's until they win, I will not have a, like when they, you know, I'm being positive here, when they do win a Stanley Cup one day, my line is gone. Because everyone's like, oh, Red Wings suck, we won. It's like, yeah, but how many Stanley Cups have you guys won? And usually gets people to, you know, pipe down, but
I heard the Red Wings didn't do too well this year.
no.
The last couple of years.
2 years and that's really it, but
Yeah. 'Cause
Well,
last
okay,
year
like
was
4,
the first
but-
year they didn't make the playoffs in how many
25
years?
years.
Like 25 years. and then they kind of continued on this year with that. It's a rebuild process.
It's a rebuild, yeah.
Well, you can't be.
They had
great
a
forever.
pretty good run. But I remember those series against the Avalanche back in
To that early 2000s.
late
That was
90s,
fun
early
to watch.
2000s. They
It
just
was
used
fun.
to just hammer each other, those two teams.
The 2002 game.
Yeah.
With Patrick
I was a
Waugh.
big Joe Sakic fan too.
Wow.
Same number as Steve Yzerman, number
Yeah.
19 as well.
Yeah,
It's a good number.
it is.
I remember I wanted that number for softball because of Iserman, but when you're like 10 years old and playing softball, and the numbers don't go that high.
Right.
So,
What?
Or it's by size.
Yeah.
So unless
it was super big. Yeah, exactly.
the larger the number, the larger the size of the jersey. So depending on what size you need, you need a smaller number 2. Here you go.
So how'd you become a Detroit Red Wings fan?
My parents are from Windsor, so just right across the water. But I grew up, and we had like a Red Wing room in our house. It was a Detroit room, so
A Red Wing of the house.
yeah, like actually, and and it was like red accents and everything. But yeah, we had Detroit everything in that room, and so it was the only teams that I knew. And then I went to my first Red Wings game in grade 3, and didn't even like understand like what was happening, and then that was when I processed, Vancouver has a team, and that was like new to me, so I wasn't about to.
So you said across the pond. Like how long would it take to get from Windsor to Detroit? Is it like right across?
Yeah, probably as size as Alex Fraser Bridge.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and you could the Joe Louis Arena where the Red Wings used to play, like you could see it right from the boardwalk in Windsor. It's really, and the downtown Detroit's like right as soon as you cross.
So you can throw a rock over the river and hit a Detroit fan on the other side if you wanted to.
That's a no, but I guess you could try. Yeah,
Or a puck.
not quite that small. Yeah, there you go.
I think Joe Louis has a much nicer ring than Little Caesars Takeout Arena.
Okay, it's just Little
That's what
Caesars
it's-
Arena. It's
oh, no way.
LCA, but
LCA.
it's beautiful. I went on New Year's Eve.
I've seen pictures. It actually looks really nice. Yeah.
The team store was probably the size of Bellevue alone.
Wow.
I was almost in tears. It was phenomenal.
So when was the last time you went?
This past New Year's Eve.
Oh, New Year's Eve.
Yeah, we went. My
Nice.
parents and aunts and uncles.
Because you wouldn't go to Detroit for anything else.
I like Detroit.
What is it like now? Because you keep hearing about how run down it is now. Everybody's leaving.
But it's so much better.
Ghost town.
That was
Really?
a few years ago. It's come a long way. Yeah, there are certain areas, right, and past like 12 Mile, it gets pretty bad out there, but downtown Detroit is phenomenal. The people are so nice and so happy, and it's such a community. And I think the construction of the Little Caesars Arena, alongside the other Comerica Park and Ford Field, they're all in that same vicinity. So it's created like a culture, and like Fox Theater is down there, and it's just so lively and. Yeah, I would probably say the nicest people I've met. Just like even like the people that are living on the streets. Just hey, like have a great game, like high fives. Not just like so happy still. Very proud to be from Detroit despite everything. So it's growing. It's coming along.
So it looks like it's coming back a little bit.
Yes.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
I don't know if it'll be the same as when with the auto boom
Right.
started there, but
Unless they start making electric cars.
yeah.
They're doing that in LA now. Isn't that the deal?
In LA?
Well, Tesla's headquarters.
Oh, right.
In LA.
They have that
Hipster.
giant plant,
Yeah.
which is not making it fast enough.
No.
Yeah. Production issues.
You probably drove past it. Did you drive past it last summer?
The Tesla plant?
Yeah.
I don't think so.
It's
Where
right
is
off
it?
the highway.
Oh, really?
Pacific Coast Highway?
If you leave
I can't believe I
LAX,
missed it then. Yeah.
and like you're heading
we
inland,
didn't.
I can't remember what number highway it is, but it's like where you can't miss it. Like it's huge. Tesla. Like,
Well, you landed at LAX. We didn't land
Yeah.
at LAX.
you came.
We never landed at LAX.
Oh, 'cause
Really?
You were,
It's a crazy airport.
Yeah, it's great. You see celebrities all the time.
I don't need to.
I know, but you can just see how short they are.
What celebrities have you seen?
so short.
I've seen a lot of. I don't even remember, but I remember like the one I remember distinctly was Hilary Duff. It's when she was dating the or married to the hockey player. I forget his name.
Oh.
Something, and they were so short, and they walked, and I was like, just like stunned, right? Because I grew up watching Lizzie McGuire, and there they are, and they're like half my size, like her and her husband. It was like, what?
Camera angles.
Yeah.
Have you met any famous people, Con?
No, I don't think so. I don't remember. Who was it? Maybe like local people.
Yeah.
Rick Hansen.
Yeah,
famous.
hey, sure.
I met
Yeah, he's
Rick
a
Hansen.
really nice guy.
Sure he would be.
He
lives in
coached
Richmond.
softball. Yeah, he coached softball against people
Oh,
I played
really?
against. His daughters are around my age.
Cool. Yeah, not many.
You don't seem the type that would be super impressed by fame.
No, not really. I wouldn't get all jumpy and stuff like that. I'd say hello, though. I'd probably interview them. I'd whip out my phone and, hey, radio podcast.
Can I get a soundbite?
Exactly.
Listen to the Raider podcast. I feel like I may have said this on a different podcast, but I ran into Shaquille O'Neal once at a gas
No, you
station.
didn't. I don't think so.
That was really weird.
At a gas station.
Yeah.
Oh, maybe you did.
I don't know if it was on here, if it was maybe just you and I.
What was that all about?
I was getting gas.
At a gas station?
I grew up in Burnaby, and it was a 7-Eleven.
They get gas too.
Yeah.
Gas station, and sort of by the house that I grew up in, and I was getting gas, and he had been injured, and I can't remember. This would have been probably, I want to say, like around 1998, 99, and he was injured, and he was doing his rehab with some famous sports doctor at 8 Rinks in Burnaby. He had come to Vancouver to specifically have his knee worked on or something by this one doctor. And he had this giant, like, custom-made motorcycle, and he was gassing up his bike at the gas bar. And it was a tiny gas bar, like 7-Eleven. And that's, so it's funny because you said, like, celebrities are shorter in person.
Yeah, well, he's not shorter in person.
It was like monster, and it was just like,
monster,
oh my
yeah.
God. Hey, Shaq. And he was just like, hey. Finished up, and then he was gone.
Did you talk to him? Like, I know.
I said, like, hey, Shaq, and he kind of, like, said, oh, hey, and I think he might have said, how's it going? And I said, good. Everybody, it was weird because I knew he was around because everybody had been talking about that. Like, it was kind of a big deal.
Right.
Like, oh, Shaq's doing his rehab in Burnaby or whatever.
Which, because I have it was my friend's mom, but she's a teacher at Delta Secondary, and she met him, so I'm wondering if it's the same period, time period, but she said he was terribly rude.
Because he probably came through here, like, when the Grizzlies were around. Like, he was playing then, so that might have been something like that, though, too.
I wonder, like, celebrity rude, I guess in some ways it's like it's your job to meet the fans and stuff like that, but I can understand how
it depends on the context.
In certain
I think, right?
situations, you might be out for dinner or doing something you don't want to have to deal with that all the time. Right? Yeah.
I saw, I watched the show Prison Break, and one of the guys, Dominic Purcell, I think is his name. He's Lincoln. Did you watch Prison Break?
No, I never have. Although kids used to always tell me I looked like a character on there, but I can't remember which one.
Oh, yeah, I have a feeling I know who it is, and you don't want to know. No, but
Talk about that later.
I saw him at the airport, and he had his hat like brimmed super low, and he was trying to get his luggage, and he was like ahead of people, and the security were like kind of taking a long time to like let him through, and you could tell he was getting heated, right? And like I was like, oh, I want to like get closer. Again, really short, like he's probably like 5'5", but anyway,
See, people
really
don't realize that
off.
Shayna's like 6'8". So
Yeah, apparently.
can't see through the microphone.
Yeah, it's all an illusion. But yeah, and you could tell he was not trying to socialize. Whereas I was on another flight with some character from the show Arrow, and he was with his like 5 kids. I don't watch it, but
I've heard that name, but I don't know the show.
And everyone like just started like quoting, and he would go along with it, and he put his like character voice on, and then people would clap, and just for like the first like 5 minutes of the flight, and then it ended. But so it depends,
really
I guess, on the situation.
If I was the Green Arrow, I don't know. I would just kind of hide.
Yeah,
but I'm not, so I don't have that problem. But yeah, that's interesting because I guess they have a life too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you grew up in Windsor?
No.
I
grew up here.
You grew up here.
Yeah.
Parents were from Windsor, right?
Yeah.
You grew up in Burnaby.
No.
That's me. I grew up in Burnaby.
Ladner.
It's Monday.
Ladner.
It's Monday, John.
So you were born in Ladner.
Grace Hospital
Grace
in Vancouver.
Hospital.
Hey, I was
Yes.
born in that hospital.
A lot of people are.
Yeah, crazy.
It's not around anymore. It's renamed.
No. It's good.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I've heard of it. So you were born, and then you went to Ladner to live.
She was transported
Where I did live,
quickly to
yes.
Ladner. Yeah.
And then after that, when did you go to Windsor? And why?
Well, all my family's from there.
Okay.
So it's only myself, my mom, and my dad that are in BC. So we would try to go back when I was growing up. I would have grandparents come every summer and Christmas, so we'd probably go back every 3 or 4 years.
Oh, you just went to visit?
Yeah.
Oh, I get it.
See family, yeah.
Because it sounded like you lived there. And, it's Detroit we'd go all the time to Red Wings games. And
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I've only
Okay.
ever been to 2 Red Wings games in Detroit. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So Ladner.
Both your parents are from Windsor, though.
Yes.
And did they meet here or there?
No, they met there.
And they moved here together.
Yes.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think I got it.
Yeah, you figured her out.
Okay.
I didn't think it was that challenging, but I'm glad we made some progress.
So, and at some point, for university, you moved to the States?
I did. I went to North Dakota. Yep.
Random.
Yeah, well, that's what people say, and I guess it is. I think about when I was in grade 12, I knew what I wanted out of school. I wanted to go into education, so I wanted a school with a good education program. I wanted to play softball. Like, I didn't want to, go and sit the bench. I also wanted some competition, so I knew I was looking at like a Div 2 NAI level. And then I knew I wanted to experience a lot of different things, and so a bit of balance. And so my grade 12 year, I went and visited multiple schools, and I talked to schools all over the U.S., like literally almost every state, right? Because you're just kind of sending out letters and then hearing back, and what are you looking for? Do you need an outfielder? Like that sort of thing. And then I knew I wanted to not be stressed, so I said by Christmas I want to sign. I want to have that done with and enjoy the rest of the year. So at that time in November, I was looking at a couple of schools in the Midwest, and when I left, like as I went to visit and I left, and I just like knew, like, and you just have that instinct inside, and I was like, that's where I'm going to be. And then it just sort of happened.
Did you visit North Dakota before you went there?
No, I'd driven through it because from driving across the country, but it's not memorable, so I hadn't remembered it. Not much there.
So, what was the campus like?
Small. So that's another thing I wanted. I wanted a smaller school. And I loved it. It's your typical U.S. College town where like the sports athletics are such a focus, and so like game days for football especially, the whole town shuts down, right, and everyone comes out to the games. So it was definitely college town. You got discounts at all the local stores, and really friendly.
The University of North Dakota? Or
No.
Is there a University of North Dakota?
There is. That's in Grand Forks. That's the Fighting Sioux.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Sure.
That's where.
So what was your
Jonathan
school
Taves went. Valley City State University.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so it was about an hour west of Fargo.
It seems like that's the thing for all of their sports, whether it's high school or whatever level, right? They bring it up
Totally.
a couple hundred notches compared to here.
Yeah.
Everybody's got their flags and their uniforms and their, colors and stuff like that, and they go
It's a
and
big
cheer.
deal.
Right? High school sports are huge.
But I like that culture, and it's not just athletics, though. Even like I found there were so many more clubs and after school events at the high schools there too, because
Right.
we had to do our practicums, and I did multiple different practicums while I was down there, and so spent a lot of time in the schools, and kids were there till 7 p.m. And when I say kids, I mean like hundreds, right? Just in different events around. Like everything is school oriented. Like club sports aren't as big. It's all through the school, and activities, and they offer so many more things. So that school culture was really neat.
Because you drive by some of their high schools and they have their own stadium.
Yes.
And they have their own...
Unreal, yeah.
They spend a huge amount of money on all that stuff, right?
Yeah.
You can watch it on TV.
Yeah.
They have a drum line, right? The marching band, and there's cheerleaders. Everything's centered around sports.
Yeah.
It's amazing.
What were the winters like?
Cold.
Yeah.
Long. But I didn't mind it. I find now I'm a little bit bitter when it snows here because I don't have patience for people who can't drive because I have learned to drive in the snow. But a different kind of cold. So once it hit -10, it didn't really matter. It was cold no matter what. If it was -40, -10, it was still just cold.
But -40 was like a normal occurrence?
I think the coldest I saw was -46
Wow.
Celsius. Yeah.
How long were you there?
4.5 years.
So just for your
University,
degree?
yeah.
Yeah. And then you did education there?
Yes.
Or, okay.
Yeah.
You finished it all.
So their program's a little bit different. Like they have, like my major was social science education. So whereas here, I believe you get your content or whatever your field of study, and then you do a year of the education program. Whereas that was like, at the same time. So it's a little bit different.
So it's integrated into your bachelor's of whatever.
Yes.
What is your
Bachelor of
degree?
Science? Bachelor of Science.
Science?
Yeah. Technically.
Right.
Yeah.
Social science.
Yeah, social science. Yeah.
And then a BEd on top of that. And then I guess you had your practicum there as well.
No. So part of our requirements, we had to do 5 practicums. So I did 4 in the U.S. and then I did my student teaching, like the 16-week one here. I actually went back to my old high school.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, in Ladner.
Delta Secondary?
Yep.
Yes.
Right. I did
Mustangs.
my practicum at
Pacers.
South Delta.
Oh, yeah.
But I worked at DSS for my first year of teaching.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
What year is that?
That's good. That was 2002, maybe?
Yeah, so you would probably know a lot of the
Mm-hmm.
my old teachers, and some of them are still there, right?
So for the 4.5 years you were in North Dakota, did you get a chance to get a feel for that state and other surrounding states or travel somewhere?
Yeah, definitely. We played games all through the Midwest, so Iowa, Montana, South Dakota, Nebraska. I actually got picked up one day for a cross-country tournament. They were short girls and they needed so many girls to qualify. So a couple of us went down and we ran for them. That was in Kansas. And then we always did a spring break trip. We'd go down. The first year we did Florida, and then after that we did Arizona for 2 weeks. We played like 20 games.
Wow.
And we played UBC, and we played teams from all over the U.S. too, which was really cool. And then I also got picked up from a USA team, and I went over and played in Amsterdam for a summer for a few weeks. Mm-hmm.
That's amazing.
Yeah, so it took me a lot of places.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I bet you don't regret that.
No.
That's terrific. What is your feel for Americans? I mean, I've traveled a lot in the States and have a good idea. Like for people who don't travel the States, they're like, oh, Americans,
Yeah.
What is your, like, having traveled so much in the Midwest and to different states?
When I was a student, I would say I was more naive because my purpose there was school softball, and I wasn't sure I was interacting with the public, but a lot of my interactions were with university students, but no, the interesting group of people. But for sure, I definitely can see the political. What do you call that?
Divide.
Yeah, for sure. And the Midwest is very extreme, and even some of my closest friends, and to this day, like I just such differing opinions, and it's just. I really realized how much geography influences people's kind of beliefs and values, and so that was really interesting. Overall, I thought I loved my experience there. My friends who were from around there in Minnesota, for like American Thanksgiving, they'd take me in, and just awesome people, hugely family oriented. They had a lot of Norwegian and German culture, and so the food was amazing. But I don't know. There are some things, I guess, it took me a bit to get used to seeing guns everywhere. Mm-hmm. But
you would actually see people carry guns everywhere?
Yeah. Well,
kind of a hunting state, though. I would
hunting,
think? Yeah.
Yes, definitely. But one of our university, one of the programs they offer, one of the most populous programs, is the fisheries and wildlife. Yeah, so that's what a lot of people were in, and yeah, I would get in the car and someone would have a huge rifle, right? Like, sorry, I was hunting, just move in the back. I'm like, I'm not touching that. Thank you.
Toss it back there.
Yeah, like, how are you so nonchalant?
Just throw it back there, yeah.
Yeah, so.
Yikes.
Yeah, well, when I've traveled in the States, I mean, I love Americans. They're very open. They're very likely to talk to you and chat it up and ask about, what you're doing and stuff like that, which is nice. I think that's refreshing. But in my travels, what makes me uncomfortable is sometimes when the patriotism.
Yes, for sure.
And because even the national parks that I've been to, I'll go to Mount Rushmore. Mm-hmm. I think I talked to you about this, and I'm learning about Mount Rushmore. They have this video going, and all of a sudden the flag goes up and the video cuts out, and then the Rangers. I thought the Rangers going to talk about the history of. Mm-hmm. Then he starts talking about the military, and then they start standing up and singing the American anthem, which is fine. But I've been in situations where, the worst one is probably in Tampa Bay. We went to Busch Gardens, and this is funny because we went in and my wife said, let's go to Busch Gardens. It was kind of, after we got married, and we wanted to ride the roller coasters, and it turns out she has motion sickness. So after the first roller coaster, the whole park is just roller coasters.
Yeah.
After the first ride, she was out.
Oh.
And so we end up at kind of a concession area. And then we got some food, sat down, but then they started having this show, like blaring music. It was like the something to do with like this was like a cultural international show. But it was like every stereotype of every different nation. So you got, China comes out with their peaked hats, and I was like, oh my gosh, what am I watching here? And then at the end, the giant American flag comes out, and everybody just stood up automatically with their hands on their hearts, and they started singing. And I was like, I feel a little bit uncomfortable. I don't know why, but, just... I don't know what it is.
It's very extreme. It
is very extreme. Yeah.
And it's such a... I don't want to... It's the glorification too. And I found that John and I were both in Oregon over spring break, and I found even there, which is a very progressive state, and Portland being a very progressive city, but it's still there's that military influence. And driving down there, we stopped somewhere in southern Washington, I can't remember what small city it was, but even just going into a restaurant, and the whole restaurant was covered in military flags on the inside. The old, don't tread on me with a snake. And then there was ones that said veterans, local number this. And there must have been a dozen different, just military, flags and banners. And it's fine. It's just different, I think, than what we're used to. And we went to the Trailblazers game. And that it was before the game, during the game, there was mentions of military. They had service people in attendance for the anthem. They brought out a soldier who had just returned. They said after 2 years. I can't remember where now, but people were just going crazy, cheering for this guy, and good for him. But it's a little bit extreme, right?
More than right.
I can understand during wartime, how you want to rally everybody and get everybody on the same side, but it's it seems to happen a lot. And what if you don't believe in what other people believe in? I'm sure you'd be
smile.
You nod and smile.
Yeah, you're outcast.
I sat there quietly and smiled.
Yeah, I don't know. Yeah.
Well, even on that though, doing practicums there, the content is U.S. only. Not having any clue where places were geographically, not even knowing that Italy was a boot.
So that's not just a joke.
No, it's a real thing, and that floored me, because they were like, "Oh, well, do you have a prime minister?" Or they said, "Do you have a president?" Right? And people in my university classes, so who's your president? Well, we don't go by president. But it was just weird how naive they were to even recognizing other countries, so to speak, and their content is so U.S. history driven, from that social side, right? And rightfully so. There's tons of history there,
rich,
but
interesting history, yeah.
Yeah, but they don't. There's no world history really. It's very minimal, and even the attitude towards a lot of those things, it's we're champs. That's their kind of
America first, yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah, there's a bit of propaganda.
Say a bit, yeah. Yeah. A fair bit.
But, I guess there's a purpose to that. Just trying to keep everyone on the same team, right?
I think you could make some arguments against that. But
especially nowadays, I guess.
Yeah.
But, it was funny because, when I went to play in Amsterdam it was a USA team. So I was wearing, a USA jersey and everything, which is a bit weird, but it was a USA athletes tournament or event or whatever you want to call it. So it made sense. But meeting all the different Dutch people that we played against, they were awesome, and they were so humble and so welcoming and exciting. And then when I said I was Canadian, well, they just lost it, right? And yeah, they like the Americans, but it was like, oh, you're Canadian, and it was just so much more special, right? And I mean, yeah, there's that connection piece with Holland and Canada, but even just, I think I wasn't super flamboyant of it, right? And that's, you know, and that's what they've even said when people go traveling. It's that Canadians are a lot more discreet, and you know, Americans are just right there. You can always tell which ones they are versus the Canadians, even though we're so similar, right? And I was like, oh, that's interesting.
Which is good and bad, because I do appreciate the fact that they'll be blunt about certain things, right?
For sure.
They'll tell you,
Right.
And there's a use to that. Cool. So you don't feel American.
No.
You only spent 4.5 years there.
People make jokes like, oh, you're American. I don't know. I mean, there's some things, like I miss some of their food, their restaurants.
Really?
Like, you know, yeah.
Like what?
That's a good question. They have like better deals at McDonald's. Like, not gonna lie.
Okay.
They
I
don't
actually
have McDonald's
food.
here.
No, I don't even know what I'm thinking of right
Pretty
now.
sure you can find some around.
That's the food she's talking about. Their cuisine.
Yeah.
Right?
there's
The
just-
Scottish.
No, when I
food
was
of the
there,
past, yeah,
when I was there, I
Scottish-
missed Canadian food
Scottish
for sure.
burgers.
I don't know I don't even know what I'm thinking about, but no, I wouldn't. Yeah,
Some deep fried thing, or
when I was in Texas, I had deep fried Twinkies. Like, you have to, right? Yeah,
I guess I would try that.
it was
I
fine. It was
know
just like
you
a
would try
donut.
that.
It's just a
I
donut.
know you would try
I don't know
that.
if I would like it.
It was just a sweet donut, like nothing crazy.
I don't think there's anything you wouldn't try. Or very few things
No,
compared to most people.
I would try. I'd give it a try. When we were
You've
in
eaten
San
crickets?
Diego, did you go to the San Diego Zoo?
When I was a kid, I think I did.
Oh, you didn't go that last time?
No.
Oh, okay.
No.
Because they started talking about insects, and they had this demo where this guy was eating crickets and mealworms.
You told me about that.
Yeah.
You ate some crickets, didn't you?
I did.
And your son
And I liked
did
it.
too, right?
Yeah, he had a mealworm.
See, I would eat a cricket. I wouldn't eat a worm.
I would take
like,
the cricket over the mealworm. But
Yeah.
apparently crickets are like super high in protein.
Yeah. Well, it tasted good because like salted. And,
I was gonna say,
you
probably
put
salted.
stuff on it, you fry it, and
There
it
was
tastes
a
good.
booth. I did a run in the summer, and there was a booth, and these guys were selling. I think it was cricket powder, like to put in smoothies. It was basically like cricket protein powder.
Yeah.
And they were going.
And that's
around.
pretty much acceptable to anybody, right? You don't have legs and stuff like that in there.
I don't know. I think some people would be thrown off.
I was.
It's powder.
Yeah,
I didn't take a sip.
I'm with you. It's fine, but
But I don't know. Maybe I could come around to it. It's paradigms, right? Like, I don't know.
Well, you eat shrimp.
I have eaten shrimp.
Yeah.
I
Isn't that pretty
know.
close to crickets?
Yeah, it's not that far off.
What were we talking about?
I don't know.
I don't know.
Has
Eating
a
crickets?
McDonald's craving or something.
Oh, yeah.
I'm thinking I'm not
okay. But they
American
actually have a
food.
$5 or 50 nuggets for $5 meal. Like, you would
50
never get that in
nuggets for
Canada.
$5.
50 nuggets.
I mean, it speaks to the obesity
That's not
issues
chicken.
there,
That's
but
not
you would
chicken.
never find that here in
It's
Canada.
actually cricket.
Exactly why it's so good,
it's
then, I
something.
guess.
It's some pink substance.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Cheaper. Yeah, it's
like a cookie.
better. But yeah. Maybe, I guess, if you're on a student budget, maybe that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But even shopping, though, like, they actually get sales, right? Like, our sales are so meh.
It's true. If the Canadian dollar wasn't so low, then, you know, like we used to go to the States all the time just for shopping.
Yeah, same.
But
I still
now
get my
it's
gas
like
there.
you kind of have to think twice with the
No,
exchange.
It's terrible over spring break.
Yeah,
It's like 30 cents on the dollar.
I know. Yeah, it's not good.
Yeah.
We were in Portland, which is tax free.
I know, tax free, but it wasn't really saving much, I don't think.
No, I don't think so. Yeah.
Yeah.
So after your 4.5 years, you moved back here, and I guess you went back to Ladner, and then you had your student teaching at DSS. What was that like?
It was awesome.
That was your old school, you said,
Yeah,
right?
but it was weird. And even to this day, like, you know, students experience this all the time, but it's such a weird dynamic going from Mr. or Mrs. to all of a sudden first name
Oh, okay.
as like colleague, right?
Right.
Also because, you know, on my practicum, realistically, I was closer in age to the students than I was to the staff for the most part, right? And not in a bad way. It's just how it is. And so it was a weird dynamic. And then also getting to know the teachers from the other side. It was awesome. And it was interesting because I did my practicum under 4 teachers, and I had 3 out of 4 of those before. And it was so cool because I had my opinions of them as from the student side, right? And what I liked about their class and what I learned and those memories, and then seeing from the teacher's perspective, the rationale behind a lot of their...
Okay, that's interesting.
Yeah.
And things that I thought when I was a student, how I totally had a completely new perspective as an adult as from that.
Who were your sponsor teachers?
I had Mike Moorhead.
Okay, yeah.
Pam Mann, John Powell, and Wes Novix.
I know all those names, but
Well, they're all
don't
still
know
here.
some- yeah,
They're
I
all
know
still
the
teaching.
People, but I've
Moorhead's still there?
Yeah.
Oh.
He told me last year, I think, or the year before, he said he's looking for like 2 or 3 or 4 years still.
Yeah.
But his son, I think, is probably grade 10 or 11 now. I wonder if he's waiting until he graduates and then maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's interesting. I can't imagine going back to my own high school to
me
teach.
neither.
I've seen some of my... Well, it was weird just seeing teachers from the past show up at conferences and stuff. I'm like, I'm a teacher now. I'm going to the same conference as you.
I
That's
live in the
strange.
same townhouse complex as one of my high school PE teachers.
Oh, yeah.
And it was weird because I had seen him around when we moved in, and I kind of thought, like, that guy looks familiar. And then we were out for a walk one night with the kids, and he was walking down the path, and he has a neat little dog who he was telling us he was a rescue dog from Mexico. She's just this cute little, like, mutt kind of thing. And so we stopped to, like, pat the dog, and he said, oh, yeah, I can't remember the dog's name, but yeah, he said, she's a rescue from Mexico and blah, blah. And I'm, like, looking, and it's getting kind of awkward because I'm, like, staring, and I'm trying to, like, place him, and I'm thinking, like, I had the idea, like, it had something to do with school, but I thought maybe I had worked with him at a school. So I said to him, like, are you a teacher? And he kind of laughed, and he was like, well, yeah, I used to be. I'm retired. And I said, oh, did you work in Delta? Because I thought maybe I worked with him at Seaquam or something. That's what was in my head. And he said, no, I worked in Burnaby. And then I was like, oh, my God, it's Mr. Ewell.
See, but you said Mr.
It all clicked. Oh, yeah, because I did know his first name. But I was like, and I said, oh, yeah. And then we were talking about it, which it turned out he said, oh, yeah, that was actually like only my second year teaching, like was when I was at that school, and I didn't end up staying there long. Anyways, he's retired. He works for SFU now as like a faculty advisor and that. But yeah, it's just kind of interesting, right?
Sounds like a Seinfeld episode. Can't stand ya.
And I remember running into another PE teacher too on which like one of those kind of awkward things where there was a group of us and yeah, he was. Anyways, yeah.
Well, I'm at the point now where I'm seeing the other way around. I'm seeing former students come back as student teachers or even like working in the district.
Volunteers and
that
used to go here. It's interesting.
That's weird too.
Yeah.
Just I feel like I've been around for a while,
been here
which
a while,
I guess I have.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, back to Shayna. Well, how did you get into teaching? Like I know I didn't start off thinking, oh, I want to be a teacher.
No, I didn't either. I was almost 30 before I started teaching.
I think that's a male thing.
Seems like you seem to know quite early on.
I knew when I was 8.
Wow.
When you were 8?
Yeah, we had to do a project in grade 3, and granted, that's when you're at that age where the only jobs, are like police, doctor, teacher, whatever. But I did a project on a teacher, and I just kind of knew. And then grade 11, socials 11 solidified it because I had a friend who was not the most studious, and we sat together in the tables, and his attendance was spotty and effort not there, and I was like dumbfounded because I was like, don't you find this so interesting? Like, how are you not attending class, right? And he was like, well, it's just so boring. So he would miss the lesson, so then I would teach him everything when he came the next day, and then he would start coming. He's like, well, I only came because you would explain it to me. And I was like, well, it's just so interesting. And then I just knew, and I was like, no, I need to do this.
Oh.
And
are you still connected with that friend?
No.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
I think if someone asked me what I was going to be when I was 8, I probably would have said like professional wrestler or,
wow,
or
Hulk
Too
something
big.
like that. Yeah. But that's great if that's just to me that's kind of I don't know. Even right up until the time I decided to go back to school and get my education degree, like because I did quite a few years of university. I went to college for a couple of years. I went to SFU, did like a full 4 years there, and then
just burned through the wallet.
And no, education was cheap then. It was the
Okay.
90s. It was basically free. It was
Wow.
it
What a
was,
time.
honestly, it was like my first year at Douglas College was 1997, September 97. I started Douglas College, and I think a semester's tuition was honestly for like 3 courses was like maybe $500. Like
Wow.
That's a
maybe
steal.
like $500-600, like maybe $200 a course, like at most. And even when I got to SFU, the tuition freeze that we had in BC, a tuition freeze for many years, was still in effect. It was only like sort of my last year, I think, it went up, and then I was away for 4 or 5 years, and then when I went back to do the final
It had jumped.
year of education, it had gone up significantly. But yeah.
But for you to go from 8 years old all the way up to going into education, like,
Well-
didn't you ever change your mind or
Yeah.
see something else and go?
There was a
maybe
time
not"?
period. I love history, and so I was really looking into being an archivist, and
Okay.
like I like traveling, and I kind of was pursuing that. I was even interviewing some people who were in the field and considering that, but. And I don't know, and I've thought about it, and I don't know if it was like kind of grade 8 to 10, that time period. I don't know what actually turned me away from teaching. I don't know I think because I remember that's what I wanted for so long. And then for a while I was just like, actually, no. And I don't know if it was,
So there was some doubt.
yeah, I don't know if it was like a social thing or if it was just, I've wanted this, like planned this, like maybe there are other options. And then, that class, Socials 11, when I just found I was naturally doing it, I was like, no, I need this. So.
I think I have 2 sisters that are both teachers, and they're 9 years older than I am, and I think so that I think it was probably because they were both teaching from a very young age. Like they kind of did like you did, like they went right to university, did like their 4 or 5 years, and were teaching by the time they were like 23, 24 years old. And so I think that was always, and then I was still, even then I was like a pretty young teenager by the time they were already working. So I think it was always in the back of my head, like, oh, that could be a good job. But even through like my 20s and that, it was kind of like, yeah, maybe teaching, but it never. I don't think I ever knew that was like, this is the only thing I will ever do. Yeah. But I think that's cool though, if that's kind of always been your life passion, because not a lot of people get to do what they wanted to do when they were 10 years old, right? Like, yeah, it's neat.
Do you still want to be a teacher?
Yeah. Yeah.
I was trying to avoid that.
Question it every day, but whatever.
After today, forget about it.
Yeah.
This year.
Yeah, we'll see where it goes. No, I'm kidding.
So this is your second school now, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
What was your first school?
Burnsview.
Burnsview.
Yes.
Okay. 2 schools.
She was run out of there.
Yeah,
And,
I heard about that.
Yeah.
The incidents.
Yeah, they said, your Delphi's
Yeah.
problem now. You can
Yeah.
go there next year. No.
Yeah.
How long were you at Burnsview?
Just last year.
Okay.
Yep.
I see. Just your second year of teaching?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it all you thought it was?
Yes.
Yes?
Yep.
And it's interesting because I didn't know that like you wanted to be a teacher like your whole life, because it and sort of working towards that, like you said, even like in grade 11, that because it does seem like you have been doing it longer. So that's I think that's interesting.
kinda what I
think
thought as well.
Oh,
part
really?
of it.
Oh, that's good.
Maybe it's all
because
the-
you have in a way I think been doing
She's
it longer, right?
she's been playing school at her house.
I was
for
an
a
only
while now.
child. I had to make the time pass. I actually did try to teach my cat. I made a report card
Oh, I
for
was
her.
going
I
to say
found
stuffed animals. But
Yeah.
that works too.
Yeah, pretty pathetic.
She's a
but-
veteran in her own way.
Yeah.
What sort of
Since she
courses
was 8.
does a cat take?
I tried to teach her how to walk up the stairs with 2 legs.
That sounds like torture. Okay.
But it was very gentle, and she got treats.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, I don't remember what else.
Meowing.
That's
Like
why she
self-reflection
that's why
stuff.
she gives her students treats.
Yeah.
Actually, I haven't in a
Go
long
with what
time.
works, right?
Fox and meow
Actually, this
next to
semester
the
I don't
desk.
think has gotten any. They don't get the sugar, so
Mm.
yeah. Well, 2 blocks of 8s,
Yeah, that's true. You definitely don't want to sugar up the grade 8s anymore
got
than
enough.
they already are.
How do you find your courses? Is there anything that you would really want to teach that you haven't gotten to teach yet? Because I mean, it took me a while to get into sciences, which is my background. I taught math and PE and drama and all sorts of weird stuff until I
Right.
got there, right?
No, I'm insanely lucky. I actually, when I graduated, I actually took a job in Arizona to teach in Arizona because here that process, you're TOCing for so long, and I thought, you know what, I could teach right away. I could get a year experience. I had a friend living there teaching. We were in the same school. I would have been coaching softball. It was kind of like super ideal. But the whole working visa thing was a bit of a mess. So decided not to do that. And then just got in at the right time and got right into my subject area. But I mean, my major is social science, my minor is English, and since I haven't done any socials since my practicum, so I really miss that. I find a lot of my classes, like, not a lot, but, you know, with the books or the poems, the stories that we're reading, the articles, there's so much historical content that I'm using, and then they leave class and I'm like, yeah, that was a socials lesson. That's okay.
That's totally okay,
fine.
though.
Yeah.
I think I do that too.
They
and I
come
think
so
it's-
hand in hand.
Yeah, and why not cross the boundaries, right?
And I taught humanities in my practicum too, so I had that mindset and just kind of seeing those parallels. And
Well, plus, if you stop yourself from doing what you're passionate about, then, you know, the kids are going to see that because it's not going to be the same.
Yeah.
You're not going to be as
Stifle
into
yourself, yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
And I think that was actually one of the coolest things for me when I was in North Dakota. We did, I was a part of the Student Senate, and I was the education representative for the Student Senate, and we had to go to these big conferences, the state conferences, with all of the senators of the...
Wow.
Yeah, it was really... like, if you want to see overachievers, like, that was quite an
The Lisa
experience.
Simpsons of the world.
It was really cool, and it was like these whole weekend conferences, and people were like, why do you want to give up your weekend to go to, you know, but it was so interesting. And we did this one leadership exercise, and I never saw myself as like a leader, because I can be chatty and outgoing when I get to know people, but I'm pretty quiet at first. And they put these like posters around the room, and there was probably like 30 of them, and they all had a different like sentence, like sort of like an I can statement, or like a general kind of statement. And it says, stand by the one that you think you identify with the most. Mm-hmm. And it was, the one I went to is like something, my passion is what drives me, or something. And I was like, oh, that's so me. Like, I'm just like, I'm so into everything I do. And like I know this is like a audio, but like you can see my hands are going crazy right now. And
I'm dodging.
yeah, I know. Like, don't worry, I won't hit you.
I'm getting lots of wind.
Only knocked over a few water bottles in my day, so we're good. But no, I stood there, and it was like, oh, see, you can be leaders in your own way. And it was so eye-opening, because it was like, oh, like I can actually use what I'm interested in to help inspire others, or help them see things. And so I think that's kind of what I've used for my focus of teaching. And even like last year, like a lot of the comments from the students when I left, it was like, thank you for always like being so into the lesson, and it made me actually want to pay attention. And it's like, wow, okay, that works for me, right? Like if I can get you to pay attention, you know, some people that's hard, but
and I think that's very true. If you're not interested,
how are they going to be? Yeah,
other people to be, right? Yeah.
Right, because, well, a lot of what you're modeling is learning, right?
Yeah.
You ultimately want them to just be really good learners and be passionate about what they're learning.
Curious.
And, like, if you're not showing it, then, you know, how are they going to get that aspect of, you know, school?
Right.
So, I mean, it's good to be a nerd about certain things.
Yeah.
Right?
Totally.
And a nerd as in, like, being really into certain things.
Yeah.
Right? And show that. Mm-hmm. So... that's great. So what else are you nerdy about?
Not Star Wars.
No. Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry,
you didn't get the
sci-fi's not
droid
my
reference
thing.
when I talked about the microphone. I'm like, how come
I think Star Wars transcends sci-fi. I think it's just like a life study at this point, isn't it?
Study.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But anyway.
I think I just grew up with Star Wars, and
I
you did
didn't.
too,
so
yeah.
It's just fun. I'm not super serious about
Do you play with
Star Wars.
Legos?
I did when I was younger. I haven't in years, but I want to do that when I teach socials. I think there's so much you can do with Lego in class, and I
put together a helicopter yesterday. Actually,
Did you?
yeah, Lego helicopter.
You made it yourself,
Took me like 2
or
hours.
did you follow?
No,
instructions?
it was a set. My son, it's his birthday this week, and he got an early
nice.
present. So
Cool.
wow, you would be that parent. Now you just set the bar.
what?
You have to do that every year.
What?
Early present.
Oh no, it wasn't from. It was actually
Oh.
like from his aunts and uncles.
Oh, okay, that's fair then.
Yeah,
When my son was 3, I got him an X-wing fighter set.
sweet. Yes, him. You got him. That's like
When he's 3.
It's like Brandon always says, "Oh yeah, we're getting the kids a Nintendo Switch for Christmas." I'm like, "Yes, your kids who can't even hold the controllers." Oh well, yeah, I'll play it until they can.
That's the nice thing about being a dad.
Exactly, right? It's fun, super fun. Yeah.
So I kind of miss the time when we had just bricks,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And these sets are so expensive now.
They
And
are,
then
but the bricks
They
are
become
expensive.
collectibles too, right?
they do, and you're afraid to take it apart. But
Yeah.
like my son had no problem. Like all of his sets are all messed up now
Yeah.
because he's used the actual bricks from it, which is what.
But
Legos
I
are
read
for.
a stat, I think we've talked about this before, John, that certain Lego sets have appreciated more than gold, like over the last like 20 years.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I have a neighbor, one of my next door neighbors is like a collector. And he's got the original Death Star Lego, he's got the original Ewok Village and all this stuff, and yeah. He's shown me a few little odds and ends that I'm like, okay, that's like he's got the original Ghostbusters car and
Right.
stuff like that he claims is worth like tons and tons of money. But
It's the original Ghostbusters car. I thought they just came out with that.
they just came out with, because my son has the new one,
Uh-huh.
so they recently came out with the new old car and then the new car from the new movie, and they sort of came out together, so you could get either like the 80s version or the new version. But there was one back, I don't know when, that they released of the Ghostbusters car 20 years
90s?
ago or something.
Okay.
I don't know what it was.
What kind of sets do you have?
I have none now.
Oh, you
Yeah,
gave them
sorry.
all the way?
Yeah, I don't think
Were
I have
there
anything.
sets when you were a kid? Because my brother was
I
super
had
into
space.
Lego when we were little.
There were space sets.
But that maybe was about it. Because otherwise, I think it was just bricks.
There were medieval sets.
Okay.
had
I
friends
remember
who
those
had-
from daycare.
Yeah.
I had like a purple and pink one, like just a classic 6-year-old girl. Like it was like different color scheme or whatever. I remember that, and it was in this huge tub, and you could build off of the tub. And
Did they have, like, when was that?
90s?
90s. Okay, I didn't realize they had, like, now they have, like, the different gender-based ones, and,
Which is
the
weird.
Friends Lego or whatever, which, yeah, it's kind of weird to me, but I didn't realize they had that in the 90s.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't know that either. I just remember tons of bricks and my brother building
Yes.
like houses and
Oh, yeah.
I remember when the flatter ones
Cars
came
and-
out. I didn't know what to do with the flatter ones. Do you know what I'm talking
Yeah,
about?
like
Like the
the
more
finishing
pancake ones.
pieces,
Yeah,
yeah.
like the rooftops. Or I don't know what you
Yeah.
would say for that.
I
But
call those the finishing pieces because they tend to go on
Finishing
top and
Yes.
not have the bumps.
Right.
yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, I remember. That threw me off. But, actually, I am not a video game person, other than Sims
either.
and Spyro, which was like those are the only 2 games I ever played.
Spyro's a
Spyro's coming
dragon.
back. Yes!
I
It was just
remember
released like last
Spyro,
week.
kind of, from
What's Spyro?
Sega.
So, no.
Spyro the Dragon.
Spyro the Dragon, I had it on PS1, but then it was on PS2 and PS3.
I feel like Spyro predated the PlayStation because I kind of think
Before that, too?
like when I was a teenager, their Spyro was around maybe like for the Sega
So
Genesis.
you're a dragon? You're a
Yeah,
dragon?
he, like,
Yeah, it's a
blows
purple
fire
dragon.
and stuff.
Yeah, and he
Yeah,
has,
yeah, I definitely remember
I forget the dragonfly's name behind him.
that. I couldn't tell you
Oh,
that.
man.
They're doing a
Pixie.
Sega Genesis. They have some other Sega thing out soon, but they said they're going to do a Sega Genesis, just like they have those classic Nintendo
Yeah.
things
Yeah.
out, right? So Sega's doing one.
That was a big deal when I was like early to mid-teens. The Genesis was like the
Yeah.
system, but I feel like it still wasn't that. But there were still arcades then. Kids went to arcades,
Right.
but
Yeah.
but even then, I don't know. It just seems like video games are so like all-encompassing now and pervasive.
Well, interactive, for
yeah,
sure.
and maybe that's part of it is because you can go online and play with your friends and chat with your friends. Because I
Arcades,
feel
yeah.
like in the arcades, like you would go with your friends and then you would go
But now
home.
they've brought arcades to the house. That's what they've done.
Because even with the Genesis, like I never stayed up all night playing that. I don't think any of my friends did. It was just kind of
It wasn't elaborate enough.
maybe that's why
Like, you
it didn't hold
couldn't,
your interest long enough.
yeah.
Maybe I don't know.
I liked arcades. I actually missed
Yeah, I
them.
did too.
Because it was like you would call up your friends and you would say, "I'll meet you at the arcade. Let's go." It's like an event, right?
There was one.
Well, I guess the same thing if they come over to your house, but it's kind of not the same thing.
No, it's
'Cause-
different.
And I like pinball too. And you can't play. Well, I mean, you can get a pinball machine for your house, I guess, but that's one thing you had to go to the arcade for was pinball. Right?
Right. But I remember, what was the last big arcade? Palladium at Metrotown, which is gone.
That's long gone, I think.
Not long gone, yeah. But I remember
because there was one there was another arcade at Metrotown too. Because I lived in Burnaby. By the in between the movie theaters, there was 2 movie theaters, and there was an arcade right in between. I can't remember what it's called, but that's where all the Burnaby kids used to go.
Right. But it was a fun time.
Yeah.
And you'd meet people there, and
Street Fighter. I remember that.
Street
was the
Fighter
big
was
game.
huge.
Street
Yeah.
Fighter 2 or whatever.
Yeah.
That's what everybody played.
Yeah. I was never very good at any of those games,
neither
but
was I.
no. But I'd go because it was fun. Or Chuck E. Cheese. I remember growing up with Chuck E. Cheese.
There's still
I thought those ones were only in America.
No, there's one in Langley.
No. Actually,
Oh wow.
Well, and it used to be more an arcade when we were kids. Like I remember going for birthday parties, and they would have like
mean it's
actual
not anymore?
video games. No, it's more like
Does it like
I
go
call
bananas?
it kiddie gambling.
Oh wow.
It's like the games of chance for kids to win tickets. But
Oh, really?
as far as I know, my kids have gone a couple times. They don't really have like the video games anymore. It's more of like the
that's
games
too
of
bad.
chance.
Well, they wouldn't match up to what their standards. I would feel like.
Like the whack-a-mole and the skee ball, like they've got that kind of stuff, and
Right.
like throw the football through the target and get tickets and that sort of stuff. Whereas I remember there was a Chuck E. Cheese in like Burnaby or Coquitlam,
Yes.
and the whole
It's on Boundary.
like upper level was just arcade
Yeah.
games, and then the lower level was kind of more.
There's so many birthday parties there. It was
Yeah.
always the best because you'd go there for the day and
yeah,
you could sit down and eat pizza and watch the creepy animatronics,
Yeah,
and then
sing
you would
a
go and go upstairs and play the video games and just run around. And there's so much stuff
someone always threw up.
Someone always threw up. Always.
Oh, sorry.
Pizza, video games, running around. Oh yeah. No, it was great.
But yeah,
I miss that. Chuck E. Cheese was actually created by the same person who founded Atari.
Oh really?
Yeah. Same guy. So after Atari was kind of doing poorly, he started Chuck E. Cheese, which was a great idea. It was good. Too bad they're all gone, except the Langley one.
yeah, it's different though. It's a lot smaller.
Mm-hmm. So, video games. Sega Genesis. What else are you into?
Softball. I don't know.
You're not playing yourself anymore though.
No.
You're coaching.
Do you see yourself
Coaching.
playing in the future?
No.
Really?
No.
Even like low key, just like kind of.
No, I had a lot of back trouble the last year, and then so I took that time off, and I always knew that I would coach. Like that was always something I knew I would do. I didn't think I would do it this year, just the way it happened. It's happening, but no, I found I had like a good connection with my team, and even though our team switched every year, right, because people were graduating and such, but it feels weird to be with a different team and a different caliber almost. Like I just have that that norm that I was used to when I played, and I played for over 15 years, so I had that run, and I just always like the road just always ended after university, like after that final year. So I don't know.
Was it hard to leave?
Yes,
Yeah.
it was very hard. It was. I was very sad because it was like all of your life, right? Like we would have 3 practices a day sometimes, and you'd have ball every day of the week, and but I found what was hard too was like that part of the identity shift. Like I still had another semester of schooling left after that, and my roommate, she was still on the softball team alongside the 2 other girls that I was friends with across the hall and in our apartment, and so they'd leave to go to practice, and then I would sit there and be like, I don't know what to do. I never have 3 p.m. off, right? Like this was always practice time. And
Who am I?
yeah, and so and even like I took new courses that like I never had time to do, like evening courses or whatever, to like some stuff that I was interested in, like photography and what have you. But it was still weird, and people were like, oh, like who are you? And be like, well, I was a student athlete, and now I'm just a student. And it was a weird concept, but I miss it, but not to the point where like I need to go back.
Really?
Like it'd be cool, but I know it served its purpose. It was peaceful.
A little bit. Like I used to play roller hockey. I loved it, and I miss that. I would go back, but I mean, and you.
Well, I'd go
play
back to that place and
competitively.
time, but I wouldn't go
Yeah.
join like a random women's team. And that's the other
Right.
thing is like.
Do you think
the-
you might have been a bit burnt out at the same, like even though it was such a great experience that maybe it was a lot of
For sure.
softball in 4 years or 15 years?
For sure, yeah, it was always competitive, right? And
Yeah.
you know, I mean, it was so time consuming, and yeah, definitely, I would say there was like that burn, like you kind of looking forward to it to end, but again, it was also a huge part.
You had to make time to do other stuff.
Yes.
Yeah.
And even like, but then you could also justify not like I don't know. It was just, yeah, it was a way of life, like it really was. But
I suppose that's what you would feel when you finally retire.
right,
Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
scared. I'm a ways away, but like
Well,
that.
So am I think. Not as
Yeah.
far as you, but
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know.
Yeah,
That would
it's
be
the
very weird for me.
What next, right? Like,
Because that's, like you said, it's identity,
Yeah.
right?
yeah,
I'm a teacher.
it's your life, right?
Yeah.
Now what am I?
Well, and
Retired teacher.
softball and teacher, like it's one of those things that doesn't leave your mind, right?
Yeah.
It's always, you know, like you can leave the classroom doesn't leave you,
Right.
right? You can leave the ball field doesn't leave you, right? Like
Right.
you're thinking about that pitch that you swung at, right? And there's runners in scoring position, like, you know, could I have, or should, you know, all those plays, or, yeah. So
Yeah.
it's weird when it's a big part of you like that, I guess.
And it is such a psychological game too. Mm-hmm. Like there's so many nuances and different things. It's a thinking person's game, like for sure.
Which I liked, and I always loved. You know, it's a team sport with individual performances.
Yeah.
So you had your focus zone, your elements, but then you still had
And that's
that.
what I find
camaraderie.
too, because my son's playing baseball now, and especially in kids sports, one kid can make such a difference.
Yes.
But baseball, not so much. Like soccer, basketball, hockey. Like if you
Well,
have
they get the
that one kid who's a star, they can completely control the game. But in baseball, they can't. Right? They get their bat every couple innings.
They
and
take
that's
their
the kind
turn.
of it, right?
That's it. Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting because it's like you said, it's a team sport, but there is that individual, but the team has to.
yeah, you because there's a part in that game where it's only you, right? When you're up to bat, or if you're on the pitching mound, whatever it might be, and no one can replace you there unless you get subbed out, but you have to perform then. So there's a different element of pressure. Whereas in other games, that possession of the puck or the ball is a lot more
Quick,
fast,
yeah.
and you have to
Fleeting.
get over that. If you make a mistake, like in volleyball, it's you missed it. Okay, next play.
Yeah.
Someone's breaking in. So, like, do you follow softball? I mean, you coach softball, but how do you follow softball anyway? Like, you can follow
Exactly.
baseball.
Exactly. That's where's Title IX when you need it. But no, no. It's I still follow my team, my university. I still know girls on the team and keep in touch with them and kind of see how they're doing because I know the conference too. And you know, Dickinson was our rival, and how did you do against Dickinson? Like you still wonder that, but no, you can follow Big Ten on.
Like, it's on TV?
Yes, not all the time. Very not regularly. You can watch them online. Most universities now. They have online live feeds. My university got that after I left. So, but yeah,
Sorry, I'm kind of ignorant when it comes to softball or baseball, but what are the differences?
oh my gosh. Okay, between the two sports.
Yeah.
Okay. Well.
The ball's bigger.
Okay. Yeah. Ball size for sure. Mound distance. I don't actually know the measurements.
Pitching.
Yeah, well, the pitching style. So softball is completely windmill underhand. Innings. So baseball's 9, softball's 7.
Oh.
I think, and even as a fan of baseball, I think baseball could cut off a few innings. To be honest, I don't know. Some of those.
Yeah, I
games
sympathize
take
with
a
that.
while.
I think. Yeah. But as a player, you're like, no.
Yeah.
Does that change a lot by changing the number of innings and changing the distance from, if you watch
Yes.
the baseball
Yeah,
game?
for sure.
Yeah?
Yes.
Well, no, I
So-
mean the watching a
spectator.
softball or a baseball game, it's pretty similar.
I would say softball is much more faster paced. Fast.
It's similar though. It's
concept-wise.
It's not like if you said cricket and baseball, you'd be there's similarities, but very different.
Right.
But you said it's
Baseball,
faster
softball.
paced.
It is.
How
So
is it faster paced?
it's a tighter game, right? The field's smaller,
Okay.
so everything's a little bit quicker. The I don't know how you would, like, there's not as much, I don't know the right word. You only have so much time in between pitches, whereas in baseball, I think
Was there a pitch clock?
Not an official pitch clock, but, you know, like, you have to have the ball on the mound.
on
Yeah,
it.
you can.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So it's like run a little bit smoother. Like for example, here, not in university. In university was 7 innings regardless, but usually games are timed, hour 20 or hour 30.
Oh, I didn't know that either. Oh, that's good.
And then like leading off is different. So in baseball, you can lead off before the pitcher starts, and then so then they can try and throw you out. Whereas softball, you can't until the ball's released. Like I was like
bases are typically closer. Like
bases are closer. Yeah, it's all just like kind of brought in a sense.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So the ball's like traveling a lot less distance, right? It's a bigger ball, so it just is a bit faster.
Do you know how fast the pitching can get? Like I know like in baseball, like Major League Baseball, typically Major League pitchers like fastball
100.
specialists can get up like 95 to 100 miles per hour is considered like kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah.
What would softball be for like a real fastball pitcher?
I'm pretty sure 60, 62, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
And I don't know. It's really interesting. Like if you're interested in it, Jenny Finch did like a study like comparing baseball and softball because you know all the baseball is like, well, you guys are we pitch way slower, right? And we're like, well, you're gonna really bring this competition on. So they did a study on like one of those.
I'm not going to.
One of those sports shows, like half-hour segments. So it was her, and then who else did she have? She's done multiple ones. You know Jenny Finch?
No.
Okay, she's one of the greatest softball pitchers of all time. She's Team USA for many years.
That's Jenny Finch, yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
And she has her own like line of like softball gloves and cleats. And okay, anyway, she's really nice. I actually met her. She's amazing. But anyway, so she went on did this thing, and they did her pitch. Granted, she was like one of the best pitchers in the world, but against MLB batters, right? And they couldn't hit.
Right.
And they timed it. They did all the measurements, and I don't remember exact all the numbers and everything, but you can watch it on YouTube. And she actually shatters this like glass that they're like measuring it for, because of the velocity or whatever the.
Wow.
It was really an interesting study because it just really showed how much more challenging the pitch is coming from the underhand, because the ball is completely different. It's an unnatural pickup point, whereas coming overhand is a natural progression of like the eyesight or whatever, and even like the windmill as the ball's hidden longer, right, as you're pitching through it, and the different spins and everything. And
where does softball come from? Did it come from like was it a modification of baseball or?
I have no idea.
I would suspect.
I would
yes,
think
but
so.
I don't know.
No, actually.
No?
Okay. Yes.
I don't know.
No, it is. I think so, but I know that fast pitch itself was a men's sport originally. Like the windmill pitch was originally men's sport, and still is. There are still leagues, but it's predominantly a women's.
When you say fast pitch,
I'm referring to like the windmill, the underhand windmill pitch. Yeah.
Because some people
Softball, fast pitch.
Yeah.
those are synonymous.
Interchangeable. Yeah.
Oh, okay, I get it. Because some people say fast pitch, and I think it's a different thing. Okay.
Yeah, but you would never call like a men's fast pitch team. You never call that men's softball. That would be men's fast pitch.
So they do have men's softball.
Yeah. Well, men's fast pitch.
Fast pitch.
Yes.
Okay.
But you wouldn't call it softball. But you could say softball, and I don't know. It's a weird dynamic.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's interesting how these different games evolve, right? Somebody makes a change to make it play better.
I think that like it came from like fast pitch, like it's a faster game, right? The pitch is faster. Like, the concept of it, like again, bringing that the field condensed a little bit more. But
right. Okay. Well, thanks, Shayna, for popping in today and having this impromptu. You didn't listen to any of the other podcast episodes, did you?
I will.
Going to now.
Because when I talked to you in your room, it seemed like you had no idea what was going on.
Oh, I know.
You were asking about a script.
I did, but I just didn't. I didn't. I know, but I wanted to make sure that you
asking
didn't want me to like prepare any like questions or anything. I don't know.
I should
No
have
homework
actually
involved.
written up a script for her.
No, you should have come
Since
here and
she
been like,
was
"So, what
asking.
questions do you have for me?" And I would have been like,
Oh my god.
"How was your day?"
It's a reverse interview.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
I figured, but you never know, and I never want to be unprepared, even though.
Well, I hope you enjoyed yourself, and I hope it wasn't too much pressure. You didn't feel underprepared for it or
No,
anything
it was
like that.
good. It was
It's just a
perfect.
conversation.
I think you hit it out of the park.
Haha.
I think we'll end it there. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, there's
Thank
no
you
going
so
back.
much.
Thanks, Shayna.